true. And we're into the game right now, so let me introduce to you Randy from Team Infused. He's in the red trunks, playing Zerg to the northwest of the Xel'Naga Fortress versus his opponent vOddy, aka Shodan, the evil computer intent on wiping out the world, which would in fact indicate why he's playing Zerg, so I'm okay with that. And he is in the blue trunks playing to the east of this map.
And the only reasoning I can think for a map choice like this, out of all the other maps you can choose from, Terminus, Taldra Metal, Shattered, why would you choose Xel'Naga Fortress? And the only thing I can think of, he has something prepared for this. He's 0-1 down. The rust distances between natural to natural, no matter where you spawn, is relatively short.
Yeah.
So I would not be surprised if we saw Randy do some really aggressive, planned out build, no matter what Shodan does. Randy knows exactly what he's going to go into.
Yeah, we've seen in previous tournaments that Randy is willing to choose maps whereby he can execute something that is, let's be honest, quite cheesy. And he's got these kind of things prepared whenever he ends up 1-0 down. We've seen quite a lot of play on when it was in the map rotation. Maps like Test Bug, for instance. He'd actually race switch to Protoss in order to proxy Void Ray, things like that. So I'm interested to see what Randy's going to do here, considering that he's not gone for anything crazy like a proxy hatch or anything like that. If Randy goes for a fast expansion here, which it looks like he will, that's an interesting choice from him, as you said, considering the rush distances.
Yeah, and vOddy's actually going to do the same, or should I say Shodan is doing the same as well. So as soon as both players scout this out, we already have Randy going in. He's now comfortable to drone heavily. He can get a late spawning pool. And equally, Shodan is already doing the same despite not scouting, but he is going to see the hatchery right now. And he also knows I could basically go for an 18 spawning pool here and it does not matter. And we do have the extractor going down first of all from both players. So we are going to see speed play straight away into this, and then that's when the deviations comes. Do they take off gas? Do they get a bailing nest, or do they add a roach warren?
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see what Randy's going to do here. There's no real way to predict what he's going to do. The early stages of ZVZ does really come down to two things. Shodan was actually looking to place an evolution chamber right there, which is an interesting decision. What that basically does is it allows you to see exactly what's going on the base, and if you have to kill the evolution chamber, which you often do because it gets in the way of constructing your base and of course gives scouting information, then 6 broodlings will come out and do damage to your mineral line. So it's a fairly common early game tactic that is actually quite cost effective if you execute it correctly.
Yeah, more importantly, you delay his speed, and you're going to have the speed done, therefore you're going to have a natural timing where you can abuse your speed where you've delayed your opponents. And it looks like we are going to be going into speed now for Randy. He lines the minerals and gases up, and there it is. Equally for vOddy, who's actually gone for 2 queens straight away, and surprisingly, we only have the single one for Randy right now.
Yeah, that's interesting, considering what he did last time around, perhaps thinking that if he skips the queen, he can go in for some kind of really early timing, which it kind of works. The problem is, of course, that when you go for your injects, you've got a round of lava that you don't get. So what you've got to really do is strike before that lava advantage comes into play for your opponent. I don't know if you can really do that. And of course, you can jog between the two, but usually the queen will not have the necessary energy to do that early on.
Yeah, a little bit of a mistake from Randy. He's a little bit supply blocked right now. 27 out of 28. Overload only just started. He cannot build that second queen. So his production is going to be slow. He actually cancels the spine crawler. Look at this now. So he's shown a spine crawler, then cancels it. So I think we are going to be seeing some form of rush now. Roach, Ling, down into the base of vOddy. He does have a single spine crawl. He's built a bailing nest. So he's literally gone for defensive bailings. And against Roach and Ling, bailings are good, but it's very, very difficult for bailings to connect against the Lings simply because of the amount of roaches. It's a lot easier for roaches to shift click onto multiple different bailings than it is for the bailing player to try and hit onto running back Lings. And there is nothing but units now in production for Randy. But is vOddy going to be able to scout this out? That is the question.
Yeah, he's going to try and do that. He's got a couple of speedlings moving in to get an idea as to what's going on. I think he probably will. He's going to see the roaches certainly moving out. It's going to give him a little bit of prep time, and Randy held up just for a couple of seconds. And the question is, what does vOddy do now? Because he's going for lair tech. Does he cancel lair and go nothing but units? Does he risk continuing to get the tech and believes that he can defend against this? And it's going to come down to defensive bailing placement, as it so often does in ZVZ.
You actually nailed that right. He should cancel the lair immediately. He should build nothing but units. This is an all-in. You do not need lair to hold this off. and this is going to be difficult, and these spines are not going to finish, and this is going to be difficult. Look how easy it is to target down these banelings, and vOddy is in trouble.
Yes, he really is, and he would love those spike balls to get up, but it's not going to happen. The queens are going to get smashed up right here. Here comes, oh, so very close there with the banelings, and this engagement. You see vOddy moving back and forth, back and forth. One spine crawler actually did get up there. Going to have to surround that, which makes it vulnerable to that. A baneling splash, taking out loads of zerglings right there. The roach count now down to 4. Another baneling coming crashing in. Quickly, rANDY moves away. Will Shodan hold? It looks like he will.
No way did he hold that. That's incredible. He really did hold these banelings tight, and unfortunately, rANDY just didn't go in and target them down. When there's only 3 spine crawls making and only 2 queens dealing damage, you have to jump in there to get rid of the banelings. And now he's held. He has got the layer. He's got a higher drone count. Everything is just playing out so smoothly and well here for Shodan.
Yeah, that was an absolutely fantastic hold. I cannot emphasize that enough. rANDY was showing some good control there, but vOddy appearing to be on an entirely other level. Only 1 baneling sniped off by rANDY in the initial engagement, and then 2 good baneling splashes clear up the remainder of those zerglings. And now rANDY fears the baneling. There's no doubt. It's actually curious that he threw so many zerglings at that. Could have easily just eaten it with 1, but there you go. Looking perhaps a little bit nervous right here for rANDY. And now he has to contend with a Spire, which is already halfway done as he's just started his lair.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing very defensive. He's added on another spine crawl, which isn't needed, but once again, he is respecting rANDY. He needs to be taking the extractors on the natural immediately. He should be droning heavily right now to get as much gas as possible, so he can build as many Mulas. On the other hand, it looks like rANDY is basically doing the same thing, but he's playing a little bit unsafe. He's only got a couple of spine crawlers. He's now adding on the extractors, mining from that natural too, but the Spire is now completed for vOddy, or just about to be, whereas it's only just going to start to be made very, very shortly here from rANDY.
Yep, good information given there to Shodan, aka vOddy. He now knows about the defense at the front. He knows that there are 4 spine crawlers in play. rANDY just got supply blocked there as well because he ended up losing another Overlord. rANDY does have some information, but he doesn't know about the lair, which means he doesn't know about the Spire, which is going to be a bit risky for him. He knows that there is a possibility of a Mutalisk follow-up right now, which is the reason he's putting down Spore Crawlers. Question is, will he be able to do enough? As you pointed out earlier, vOddy really did not take that gas all that fast, which has really limited the number of Mutas he can get out now.
Yeah, definitely. And the thing is, the reason why the Spore Crawler is down is because what rANDY's doing, he's scouting gas indirectly in terms of, why don't you have roaches? Why don't you have a lot of banelings? Where is your gas going? You're mining gas, where is it? And so he knows naturally that vOddy's preferred style is Mutalisk, which is so he's pretty much prepared for it already. And he's going to need to get his own Mutalisk out very, very shortly. But he does have a lot higher gas count. Currently, there's 2 Mutalisks out for vOddy. Very low gas count. All of a sudden, we're going to see 10 Mules in production from rANDY because he just got more gas from that natural faster.
Yes, he did. Unfortunately, he is a bit behind in terms of his supply. This is actually going to hit him quite hard. He's going to have to be a little bit careful about when he builds that. He's going Zerg Flyer attack level 1, knowing that he can't build a large round of Mutas because he is at supply cap, having had one of those Overlords sniped off.
And we do actually have a hidden third base here from rANDY, but these Lings are going to scout it, unfortunately, for rANDY. And very smart play here from Shodan to find that. And unfortunately, that is going to hurt a lot there for rANDY.
Yeah, that is a kick in the teeth, and he was perhaps suspecting that his opponent would try something, knowing that his opponent's behind, thinking, why did he pick this map? What kind of plans does he have on this map? Does he plan to take a hidden? And as it turns out, he did. Good control pathing here by these Zerglings, making use of the fact that he does have map control. He does have a unit count advantage. He can scout for these kind of things. rANDY being forced into a cancel, and unit count for both is quite high. We'll notice that rANDY's is going to be slightly higher. He'll also have the +1 advantage, which his opponent does not have.
Yeah, indeed. But the thing is, this third base is on its way now for Shodan. And as soon as that goes up, rANDY is in a horrible position. He needs to start thinking about getting his own third base. But there's Lings denying drones from trying to build that hatchery. So Shodan is looking in a good position. He's building a macro hatch as well. And he's just looking in a great position overall. And we need to see some form of bust or something from rANDY onto that third base. I mean, he's still droning up, trying to just push his drones up as much as possible. But every second that passes by, Shodan gets more and more of an economic advantage because he's got the extractors already up on that third base. and in literally 5 seconds, he's going to be mining gas from there. And now he's going to have that third extra gas income rather than we have Randy, who's still stuck on 4 extractors.
An interesting move here, I noticed, by vOddy, who's chosen to go for Zerg Flyer Carapace level 2 very fast and not actually taken an upgrade in terms of his attack, giving his Mutalisk significantly more durability. It's an interesting move. And once again, Showdown is looking to try and deny this hatchery, which he will be able to do. And that wasn't even a cancel, that was a kill. That is critical for Randy. It's a terrible error.
And now we know that Showdown, he's already telling himself, I need to hold this middle and I'm going to win this game. So he brings all his spine crawlers to the center of the map now. He's mining gas, which means he can tech to the Infestor pit. There's no problem with that. He's got the gas to do so. He can actually use Mutalisk and Infestors together, and which would just completely dominate Randy's pure Mutalisk. So Randy is in a horrible place, and what Randy needs to do, he has to get this third base up. He should even take a risk, a gamble, try to take a 4th base somewhere, because right now he is not going to win this game the way he needs to play this through. He's got he's got nothing that can just immediately one-shot the game, such as the Infestor with a Fungal Grove, a Baling Nest, or Baling's Landing. He's only got Mutalisk, and they are not going to win against the Mutalisk. The Mutalisk count is currently 22 to 26, but they are better upgraded for vOddy, and he also has pathogen glands on the way. And as soon as these Infestors come out, look at these clubbed up Mutalisk. They are going to die so fast.
Yeah, once the Muta count is destroyed, I would say that Randy will give the game up. And what it comes down to now for Randy is, can he get a good engagement? Can he start doing damage? He really has done very little damage with these Mutas. He's done nothing to the economy of his opponent. His opponent has been able to drone freely, as you can see from the significant drone count advantage there for vOddy. So why, it's just the question where you ask, why is this Muta count as high as it is when you're not able to do anything with it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Showdown shouldn't be engaging here. He actually doesn't have the Mutalisk count to fight here, and he will retreat very, very shortly. A little bit sloppy, but at the other time, he's like, all right, okay, if he's going to lose him, he doesn't care about these Mutalisks. He's just going to completely tech switch over, probably. But that was a bit of a sloppy engagement. If he just waited for Infestors to pop out and then go, but at the same time, he's literally building 50 lings right now. He's just going to turn the heat on, and all of a sudden, it may still be too much for Randy, despite having the Mutalisk count.
It was quite curious, really, because vOddy actually engaged before the +2 completed, which does seem a bit pointless. I mean, what was the purpose of that? I think it just does come down to a significant economic advantage, but there's been a ling run by right here by Randy into the main, and in the meantime, he's going to actually trade for that expansion, as Randy's going to lose that again. And mutually assured destruction, a little bit of base trading going on for both players. Looking to try and take out the Spire, a couple of defensive Banelings do some damage, but the Lings continue to stay alive there. Muta count for both players has been decimated. Randy still has an upper hand in that regard. Down goes the Spire, and now the Lair taking damage as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is all because of that sloppy Mutalisk play, but at the same time, there's a lot of Lings in the main base of Randy, destroying the economy of Randy. 50 workers have been killed, no third base, down at 28 workers, and it looks like, even though that was a bit of a sloppy fight earlier, Showdown is going to take the win. He manages to survive with his Lair as well, and he still has a lot of drones. Look at that, 80 drones versus 29.
Yeah, that's a really significant advantage, and while that engagement from vOddy, one might say, was a little bit ill-advised, I think he just has so much of an economic advantage, he didn't care. He knew that the only significant army that Randy has was his Mutaflock, so he's willing to trade his for Randy's, as long as he was then able to follow up with something very devastating, which is exactly what he's doing. He's throwing units at his opponent. Randy has nothing to really deal with it. Spire now goes down as well. The Queens will be assassinated here.
And a bit of a run by here from Randy, but it's going to take the Lair down, but at the same time, it really doesn't matter that much, because the damage that has been now dealt over to Randy as well, it doesn't matter. We already have the crucial structures from the Lair tech out. We have the Spire down. The Hydra Den has finished on the third base as well, indeed. The Spire is already making. So it doesn't actually matter that much that the Lair has gone down. And now we are going to see 14 Hydras on the way out. And as soon as they pop with the range upgrade, with Infestors too, that should be able to knock Randy out. I mean, Randy has been on the ropes the entire of this game. You can see it by his supply count, see it by the fact that he hasn't got a third base. We're actually seeing a fourth base up and well running here for Showdown.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Randy doesn't know that it's there, which is a big kick once again. I'm going to take out a few Overlords here and try and supply block vOddy, but he's got plenty of spares, which is a very smart move considering he knows how many mutas are in play for his opponent. And right now, vOddy can't really stop this mutalist clock, and it's unfortunately the only hope that Randy has. And there's a fungal growth at the back. In come the Hydras to try and rip through that, and now vOddy has what he needs in order to deal with the only thing remaining in Randy's army.
And there was a little bit of a late run by here from Showdown into the natural, but there's too many roaches and spine coils for them to actually do anything. And to be honest, Randy's playing really well. He's actually, despite not having any economy and having very low unit count, he's doing and maximizing damage from them. Where on the other hand, we have Showdown, who has a lot of economy, a lot of units, but is kind of throwing away units a lot and not really maximizing the damage from anything.
Yeah. And Randy almost got his entire mutalist block annihilated there by a significant Hydra count. He knows that his opponent now is sitting on a stupid number of Hydras. Look at 35, which is significant. And I would think that vOddy's just going to go for it right now. I don't see why not. The mutalist count is getting whittled down somewhat, and some damage is being done. It only really takes this mutaflock to be caught out of position once. Yeah, there you go. He knows he can't do anything. There's the GG, and that's Randy down to the losers bracket right here with BYOC and vOddy with some impressive Zerg versus Zerg play.